It's early March, and one of my classes has just bestowed upon us the latest essay topic. They tell us the essay is due in 2 weeks, the Friday before spring break, but also conveniently add that we can hand it in 2 days later on Sunday if really necessary. This last piece of information is both a gift and a curse to a procrastinator like me. Fast forward, it's the week before the essay is due. As the week goes by, I gradually start to work. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday go past. I generate a very rough outline, basically a constellation of bullet points. I meet with teachers and I start seeing kids handing in their first and second drafts, really on top of their stuff. And I wasn't even envious, I was more fascinated. I would love to be like those kids, but every time I try to do work early, I get distracted by more pressing matters. While I work on my essay due in a week, and I have a math test tomorrow, or a Game of Thrones marathon tonight. I did do a bit of research though, and I talked about my essay, but I didn't quite write sentences. Thursday comes along, I do nothing. Friday, the due date, I had nothing to hand in. Of course I waited till Saturday and Sunday. I mostly worked on Sunday. Apparently the essay was due no later than 9 p.m. I submitted mine at 2:19 a.m. in a scene of blazing glory. Now, ignoring the frantic essay hysteria that swallowed my first weekend of break, I actually ended up writing one of my better papers. And similar to every other paper I've written, felt that I worked best when I could feel the clock ticking. This is a prime example of procrastination. Procrastination is the action of postponing or delaying something. My example wasn't totally destructive. As I was putting off my work, I was subconsciously consolidating material and becoming more creative. Now, it wasn't ideal procrastination, and it was stress-inducing, but it does have seedlings of a positive habit. I belong to a big community of procrastinators. According to one study, 20% of the population identifies as procrastinators, and I identify the other 80% as liars. In some capacity, we all procrastinate, but there's no reason to be ashamed of that, because if we learn to do it the right way, procrastination can be very helpful. Now, when going down this road, we have the choice of two paths: passive procrastination and active procrastination. One will cause you to roll up into a ball, crying and tearing your hair out, while the other will allow you to reach your unlocked potential. The first is passive procrastination. Passive procrastinators put off their work without a purpose. They are paralyzed by worry and indecision. They may be overwhelmed by an upcoming task or simply can't get motivated, so they revert to unproductive, easy activities. Here's an example. While procrastinating on writing an essay, you binge watch Netflix, or you binge eat, or you binge anything. The examples are endless. Most times, these people prefer to do things that give them immediate pleasure instead of the more daunting task ahead of them. These people prefer to do things that will satisfy their needs in the short term, but aren't thinking about the long term. With that being said, there is absolutely a time and place to do nothing, just for relaxation's sake. But this is a slippery slope, and these people can't draw the line, making these mindless activities consume all of their time. On the other end of the spectrum is active procrastination. Active procrastinators prefer to work under pressure. They make deliberate decisions to put off the work so they can plan or investigate further, or because they have other important matters to do in its place. Here's an example. While procrastinating on writing an essay, you study for your math test. Or while procrastinating on your math test, you clean your room. Although you push off something that's important, the idea is that you're doing something equally, if not more important, in its place. This is based on the sound psychological principle that anyone can do any amount of work, provided it isn't the work they're supposed to be doing at the moment. In order to utilize active procrastination, we must structure our work in a way that exploits this principle. The best way to do this is to create a list of the tasks you need to do, either on paper or in your head, ranked in order of importance. The most daunting tasks with clear deadlines will be up top, but there will also be worthwhile ones to do at the bottom. Here's an example of one of my lists. Doing these lower items becomes a way of avoiding the ones higher up. Using this approach, you can become much more productive. This works because you are deceiving yourself into doing work that you perceive as less important, but in reality is usually just as meaningful. Now that we know the two types of procrastinators, The next step is understanding the full range of benefits that it offers. Not only will you become a better person, but your activities and your daily engagements will also improve. The first thing it does is makes you more creative. While you procrastinate, you're more likely to let your mind wander. When doing this, you have a better chance of stumbling onto something unusual and spotting the unexpected. Even if you're not being active about it, when you procrastinate, you have a better chance of finding the thing that you're genuinely interested in. Take note of the things you do when you push off a certain piece of work, and your genuine interest will emerge. Second, active procrastinators get more done. If you have a task that you want to put off, a good procrastinator will find other important things to do in its place. They may research another project or send out overdue emails, for example, but in the end, your most important work always gets done. One thing that you can do is do a hierarchy of tasks. You write a list and essentially deceive yourself into doing more of your work. Try this technique for a little bit, and I guarantee you see results. Third, procrastination leads to better decision making. When a procrastinator delays making a decision, they're gathering information and equipping themselves to make the best possible choice. When doing this, you're more likely to have better outcomes. To paraphrase philosopher John Perry, it is beneficial to utilize all your available time before making important decisions so you can observe and process information about all available outcomes. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not make a snap decision, but take advantage of all your available time. The real problem with procrastination is when we get angry at ourselves for doing it. We all know the feeling. You may feel shame or guilt, which in turn leads you to procrastinate even further, creating a vicious cycle. If we get rid of the shame, the stigma behind procrastination, we will be able to isolate the positive aspects of it and overcome the negative ones. The best thing we can do when approaching this topic is understand that conventional wisdom isn't necessarily correct here. Procrastination can be harnessed for good. This may not be a big problem for some of you, but if you feel like procrastination is weighing you down, I encourage you to change your perception of it and strive to become an active procrastinator. If we do this the right way, procrastination can make us more productive than ever. Thank you.